speaking of wandering the halls, Donald Trump was at the Faith and Freedom Coalition event, I guess, in D.C. over the weekend. And he's complaining. He's complaining that people are saying he's rambling. And he's going to set everybody straight.
Well, these stories have, you heard my story in the boat with the shark, right? I got killed on that. They thought I was rambling. I'm not rambling. They want to make boats. And they are demanding that they be all battery operated, all electric. And I was in South Carolina at this wonderful family boat yard. The big yard make a lot of boats, from 17, like fishing boats, 17 to 30 feet. And I said, how's everything going? No good. They want us to go all electric. I said, well, would that work? No, because it's so heavy, we can't get the boat to float. The battery is so heavy. So then I start talking about asking questions, I had an uncle who was a great professor at MIT for many years.
Oh, pause it. Hold on. Breaking story. I didn't know that. That's why he asks all these insightful questions, is because his uncle went to MIT 75 years ago.
That's because he has a curious mind. When you're interested in science, you ask questions.
It's genetic, Emma.
Right.
You don't get it because of my uncle.
He touts that more than he touts himself going to Penn.
Yeah, it's very strange.
The MIT part.
People think I'm a dullard.
Is that where he got the bleach?
My uncle was smart. Yeah,
thing?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. I'm throwing around all sorts of ideas. Okay, go back just a little bit.
So then I start talking about asking questions, I had an uncle who was a great professor at MIT for many years, I think the longest tenure ever, very smart, had 3 different degrees. And, so I have an aptitude for things. There is such a thing as an aptitude. I said, well, what would
Aptitudes
happen
exist.
if this boat is so heavy and started to sink and you're on the top of the boat? Do you get electrocuted or not? In other words, the boat is going down and you're on the top. Will the electric currents flow through the water and wipe you out? And let's say there's a shark about 10 yards over there. Would I have to immediately abandon, or could I ride the electric down? And I said, sir, nobody's ever asked us that question. But sir, I don't know. I said, well, I want to know because I guarantee you one thing. I don't care what happens.
Pause it for a second. Now, I just want to help folks out. First off, I should just tell you that Donald Trump's uncle died 40 years ago. Okay, he died 40 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Smart guy.
Smart guy. Very smart. Nobody asked this question before, and I said, hey, I am going to forget that there's batteries that exist on boats right now. And just pretend like because this is a big, big battery. Will I get electrocuted by the battery that gets soaked in the water? And he said, nobody ever asked that question before. And I immediately thought oh, nobody ever asked that question before because it's such a brilliant question.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to, this is a polite way of a guy who's running boats faced with a former president and doesn't want to say, that's the dumbest mofo thing I've ever heard before. My God, how do you tie your shoes in the morning? Does someone tie your shoes for you? He didn't want to say that. So he just said, no one's ever asked that question before. You're a unique person. Uniquely stupid was the subtext. But I pretended like I didn't know that, and so I just went on with my head, assuming that that was a genius question, completely befuddled him before. Go ahead.
I'm staying with the electric. I'm not getting over with it. So I tell that story. It's, just fun. And the fake news, they go, he told this crazy story with electric. It's actually not crazy. It's sort of a smart story, right? It's sort of like, it's like the snake. It's a smart, when you figure what you're leaving in, right? You're bringing it in. The snake, right? The snake. And the snake.
Yeah, the snake. And there's another story that's also completely off point. But people say that's not right. It's smart, right? Will you please not? Yeah, okay, it's smart. It's smart.
What snake? What's he talking about?
His parable about
The snake is like a poem he reads at almost every
Oh, that's
rally,
beautiful,
Where
honestly.
it's like the snake is led into a house by a woman, and then she trusts the snake, and the snake bites her, and she says, "Why would you do that?" And he said, "You knew what I
it's
what
sort
I
of
was
the
when I came in."
scorpion
Look.
riding on the back of
Right,
Look,
or
I
just
was
like an
wrong.
example from when he went into a woman's home, allegedly.
The point being that the media, all the libs in the media are out to get Donald Trump and make it seem like he's on rambling all the time. And that's the point of this, if you don't get it. Here's clip number 11. Also, talking. This is not him rambling. I know if you're one of these libs or lefties, you're going to be like, oh, I don't want to watch this. But no, here, check it out. This is Fox finally giving him his due. Not rambling at all.
Where there's so much water, you don't know what to do with it. It's called rain. It rains a lot in certain places. But no, their idea, did you see the other day? I opened it up and they closed it again. I opened it, they close it. Washing machines to wash your dishes. There's a problem. They don't want you to have any water. They want no water. And I was with one.
And you were just listening to former President Trump, and we're going to talk about some of the things he was discussing there. We'll be right back. with
Yeah,
final
there you
remarks.
go. We're going to cut away from his speech because he's getting into the waterless washing machine for dishes. That's the, just going to scrub it.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. He's got he defended his parable about apparently fighting off a shark or standing on an electric battery and then getting electrocuted to death in the ocean, which that's his version of the trolley problem.
Where do you go?
I was the one, incidentally, who came up with the bleach in the body and the really bright light to get rid of COVID. That's the one I wanted. And then they ended up saying, well, we got to have a vaccine.
This is like how it was smart of Bill Clinton to do Big Macs all the time. Is because consumer culture is the fastest avenue to get your message out to people. And if you start talking about like buying boats and stuff like that, you'll get an entire group of people who are just going to tune in.
100%. And also, I think, one of the things about Trump that actually works in his favor when he rambles and tells these ridiculous stories is that, he's not intimidating. He's not intimidating he's not talking all this mumbo jumbo about, policy or this or that. He's just like a regular guy who comes up with a completely bat crap, crazy theory about sharks, and everything is just about his own.
Oh yeah, Shark Week too.
Sharks coming up. Would it electrocute the shark? Would I get electrocuted? Would I go down in the boat? What would I do? Stay on the boat? In what scenario? Let's just say, you don't stay on the boat when it's sinking.
I'm
Yeah.
going down with
That's
the
not
ship.
the way it goes.
It's the Titanic.
You either try and get away from the boat or you have no choice because it's sucking you down.
Well, then he's saying, though, I guess, right, it's sucking you down. But also, you're presumably in the ocean where a shark is. The body of water is a little bit too large for a battery, I think, to electrocute you to death, if I'm not mistaken.
I think the battery's just going to short is what's going to happen. It's not like there's a constant stream of electricity.
Yeah. Imagine Trump as the captain of the Titanic. I'm out of here.
Guys, I'm just curious about the sharks. What's the story with the sharks?
I need a special boat to myself.
He would have been Billy Zane, just trampling over all the kids,
Exactly.
grabbing a random kid saying it's mine so he could get on the lifeboat. That's his role in Titanic.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.